Good news! The doctor called and said, I don't need surgery anymore. Great, right? Except my arm is still broken. The surgery got canceled, the injury didn't magically disappear. And that is the mistake a lot of veterans are making right now. A veteran's bill gets pulled from the House floor and suddenly everyone thinks the VA rating changes are dead. Not so fast, because the bill is one thing, the VA's rating schedule changes are something else entirely. And that second process may still be moving. So in this video, I'm going to give you the quick version. What got pulled, what did not get pulled, which ratings are still in the spotlight, and what veterans should be paying attention to next. The Take Care of America's Veterans Act was pulled before a final House vote after major backlash over proposed changes tied to sleep apnea and tinnitus. Supporters said the bill included important benefits and reforms. Critics said it also opened the door to cutting future compensation for certain disabled veterans. That fight got loud fast. Veterans groups pushed back, lawmakers argued over what the bill actually did, and then the bill was pulled from the floor, at least for now. But here is the part that's getting lost. That bill wasn't the only path for these rating changes. The VA has already been working on a separate update to the rating schedule. That process is called VASRD modernization, and it's been going on for years. Back in 2022, VA proposed updates involving several major areas, including respiratory conditions, hearing-related conditions, and mental health. That means sleep apnea, tinnitus, and mental health were already a part of a separate VA process before this latest House fight. So when the bill got pulled, that didn't automatically erase the VA proposal. It didn't cancel the rulemaking process. It doesn't mean everything goes back to normal forever. It only means that one version of one bill hit a wall. The separate VA track may still be alive. That's the real story. Sleep apnea is one of the biggest issues here because the current rating rules can be very valuable. Right now, if your sleep apnea is service-connected and you require a CPAP or similar breathing device, that can generally support a 50% rating. That's why veterans are watching this so closely. Under the proposed VA change, the focus would shift. Instead of the machine being the main issue, VA would look more at what symptoms remain after treatment. So if the CPAP works and you don't have symptoms left over, a future claim could potentially be rated much lower. In some situations, it could be 0%. That is the headline veterans are reacting to. Current rule, CPAP can be a major factor. The proposed rule, VA looks more at the remaining impact after treatment. That's a big difference. And no, it's not final yet, but it is serious enough that veterans shouldn't ignore it. Tinnitus is the big one. Right now, recurrent tinnitus is usually a standalone 10% rating. Simple. You have ringing in the ears, it is service connected, and it can be rated on its own. The proposed change would move away from that broad standalone approach. Instead, tinnitus would generally be treated more like a symptom of another condition, like hearing loss or traumatic brain injury. That doesn't mean every tinnitus claim automatically becomes worthless, but it does mean the clean, simple 10% rating veterans know today could change for future claims. And because tinnitus is so common, even a small change affects a lot of people. That's why this issue keeps blowing up. Tinnitus is the most common VA disability rating out there. It is the standalone 10%. And what does that standalone 10% get you? It unlocks a lot of benefits. It unlocks more education benefits. It unlocks VA healthcare. That 10% alone is going to take away so much from future veterans that would probably need those benefits. Now, not everything in the proposed VA update is bad for veterans. Mental health may be different. The proposal would change how the VA looks at mental health conditions. Instead of leaning so heavily on that current impairment categories, the VA would look more directly at how the condition affects daily life. Things like thinking, relationships, completing tasks, getting through daily activities, and self-care. That could help some veterans because it may capture how mental health actually shows up in real life. Another important piece, the proposed minimum rating for a service-connected mental health condition would move from 0% to 10%. So this isn't a simple all-cut story. Sleep apnea and tinnitus are where a lot of the concern is. Mental health may actually improve the rating structure for some veterans. That's why the details matter. Now let's clear up the fear question. If you already have a rating, a schedule change by itself does not automatically reduce you. The VA cannot just say, New rules are here, your old rating is gone. That's not how it works. But there is still a reason to be careful. If you file a new claim or ask for an increase, the VA may order a new exam. And if that exam shows your condition has actually improved, that can create problems under normal rules. So the answer isn't never file, and it's not everybody file right now. The answer is know your own file before you make a move, because panic filing can be just as risky as doing nothing. VA officials have pointed to October 1st, 2026 as a target date for finalizing these changes. That doesn't mean it's guaranteed. It also doesn't necessarily mean that's the exact date any new rule would take effect, but it does give veterans a date to watch. And here is the big takeaway. The bill getting pulled doesn't mean the VA timeline disappeared. That is the false sense of security. The loud fight in Congress may have slowed down, but the quieter VA process could still be moving in the background. So what should you actually do? First, don't panic. Second, don't assume the fight is over. And third, look at your own rating. Pull your decision letter, check your diagnostic code, look at what evidence VA used to grant your percentage. If you have sleep apnea, find out whether your rating depends heavily on CPAP use. If you have tinnitus, know whether it's rated by itself or tied to another condition. If you have a mental health claim, make sure your evidence actually shows how the condition affects your daily life. And before you file anything based on a headline, talk to a VA accredited representative, because the right move depends on your file, your evidence, and your current rating, not someone else's comment online. So here's the bottom line. The veterans bill being pulled is real news, but it does not mean the VA rating changes are dead. Sleep apnea, tinnitus, and mental health are still worth watching because they're part of a separate VA process. The smart move right now is not to panic, it's to prepare by knowing your rating, knowing your evidence, knowing what could change, and to get a second set of eyes on your file before the rules move, not after. And use the link below to schedule a free one-on-one strategy call with someone from our team, because the worst time to figure out what changed is after it already happened. Make sure you like and subscribe to this channel because we have some new and exciting content coming your way, and also leave a comment below on what topic you would like to see us make a video on next.